We're now joined by Jonathan Panikoff, former U.S. intelligence officer, currently at the Atlantic Council's Scowcroft Middle East Security Initiative. Thanks so much for joining us. What is the ultimate goal for the U.S. in this latest round of talks?
Well, good morning, Scott. Thanks for having me. Look, I think the U.S. is trying to take one last shot at seeing whether or not there's some sort of diplomatic solution possible. And I think the question is not just whether it's going to be about the nuclear program, though that's obviously the primary motivating discussion here, but there's also questions about the ballistic missile program, about Iran's proxies. The U.S. has said now, and saw Secretary of State Rubio say, that there's got to be a broader conversation and a broader opportunity to deal with all of these issues. It's not clear to me right now that Iran's, frankly, maximums that they're going to be willing to give are going to meet U.S. minimums, including no enrichment, but we'll see how it goes today.
I guess the big question here is, if Iran does agree to U.S. conditions, would it be enough to really bring down the temperature between the two sides and avoid military interventions?
I think it's a question of how far the Iranians are actually willing to go. And Iran is not a monolith in itself within the government. Certainly, I think there's potential. If you got to a place where you had enough moderates really get to convincing the broader government and the supreme leader, most importantly, that, look, we can avoid military strikes, it's good for us, we can deal on sanctions, but we have to meaningfully give up our nuclear program finally. We need to meaningfully give up at least a big portion of our ballistic missile program. Then maybe you actually could get to a place where President Trump would say, look, we got to what we wanted to do diplomatically. The region is going to be safer. Israel is going to be safer. But it seems very, very unlikely that that's going to happen. There's just no indication that the Iranians are willing to go there that far. And it's not clear what President Trump would take as a win. In other words, if you got a nuclear-only deal on enrichment, maybe he would take that and set everything else aside. But right now, I think the tensions are still pretty high, and I'm not sure the Iranians can meet the minimum demands of the U.S.
So realistically, what are the expectations ultimately with these talks in the short term?
I think that the hope is, look, that you see if there's a possible breakthrough. I think from the Iranian side, they're going to be looking to buy time. That's almost always true. I think from the U.S. side, they're going to try to see, look, is there another option here, right? The Iranian regime has, frankly, slaughtered thousands of its own people. There's a broader social challenge here in terms of the stability of the regime, but they're always going to prioritize survival, the current Iranian regime will. And so they will try to seek if there's a different option. There are some hardliners in the regime right now who think, no, actually war is better for us long term. We have to reassert some level of deterrence. I think that's going to be very, very hard to overcome. So I think right now the talks are basically a last-ditch effort by everyone. I'm skeptical, unfortunately, they're going to be successful.
Jonathan Panikoff is a former U.S. intelligence officer. Jonathan, thanks so much for your time today and insight. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.